Hey everyone, my name is Jessica. Welcome to the Enclosed YouTube channel. Today we are going to be making reusable snack bags. Yes, because back to school is coming up. You know it, I know it, we all know it. So I was thinking, since we made those awesome reusable grocery totes, what if we could kind of zhuzh up the Ziplocs a little bit? Because I'm not a big fan of going through boxes and boxes and boxes of Ziplocs throughout the year. So instead, let's make some super cute snack bags and sandwich bags that we can send off to school or send off to work or just, put in your purse or put in your car or wherever, and you can put all your treats in it. You can put your grapes in it, you can put your strawberries in it, you can put your nuts in it. You know what I mean. You can put your sandwich in it, you can put your burger in it, you can put your waffles in it, you can put your waffles in it. You'll see why I said that in just a minute. So you can put all these different snacks in it and then take them wherever you need to go. I'm gonna make two versions today. First one is gonna be the easier one because it has less steps. So the first bag is just gonna use canvas fabric, pull lining, and a zipper. That's it. That's all you need. 3 things. And then a sewing machine and like tools to cut with. But we're not gonna go into that deep, right? We're just exterior canvas, thick cotton, and a wipeable, waterproof lining, and then a zipper. That's it. Second bag, we're gonna zhuzh that one up a little bit. We're zhuzhing everything. We're gonna zhuzh all over the place. Second bag, we're gonna use a cotton lycra fabric, which is, closed, stretchy. We're gonna interface that with some SF101. We're going to quilt it on some thermal batting. Yeah, thermal batting to keep your cold goods cold and your hot goods hot. So 2 bags. I'm gonna show you, I made a few of these already, so let's have a look at them. Have you guys heard about this show? It's called Stranger Things. It's on Netflix, and it's creepy as heck. And I know most of you are probably like, do you live under a rock? Yeah, I kind of do. I have a lot of stuff going on all the time. I just started watching Stranger Things, and I'm in season 2 right now, and I'm obsessed. So I actually had some of the Stranger Things fabric, and I was like, I'm gonna make a sandwich bag out of this, and I'm gonna put some Eggos in it because I actually do love Eggos. So this is the sandwich size bag, and you can see I used a thermal lining on this one, which is why it's quilted. Can you see the quilting on there? When you open it up, it's got a nice waterproof, easy to wipe down lining that you can even pull out and then just, that's what I don't know what you do. I don't know how you clean things, but honestly, I just kind of shove it back in there because I don't have time. I just don't have time. But this is it, and this is a great size. You can see I boxed the bottom so that it stands really neatly like that. This makes it really easy when you're packing it up with snacks or treats to just put it on the counter, open up the top, put it on the counter, throw everything you need in. If you're sending this to school with kids, they plop this on their table and they just take all their treats out. It's not gonna be laying on its side like this. You don't have to worry about everything, falling out and all their treats like you send in with Skittles or M&Ms or something like that, and they're gonna go all over the place. But you just pop it up like this, there's your treats. But this is the sandwich size, so it's a little bit bigger so it can hold your bigger goods. Here is the snack size. Snack size, you can see it's just as wide as the sandwich size, but it's just gonna be a little bit shorter. This is also a quilted one. You can see same thing. There we go. Easy peasy, right? Come on, it's gonna take you like 10 minutes to do this. Maybe more than 10 minutes, but it's not gonna take you long to make these. You're gonna be making them for everybody. Everybody. So I'm gonna show you one that I zhuzhed just a little bit. This is I'm going to Disney World and I'm going to a buffet or a family style meal. Don't judge me. But sometimes, you get leftovers. There's a couple more Mickey waffles on that breakfast buffet plate of yours that they will throw away. You put this in your bag, you open it up, pop them in there. They are snacks for later in the day. I don't know if that's allowed or not, but it's what I do because those meals are expensive. You can see this one, I added a little wrist strap, which is what I'm gonna be doing on my snack pouch today. This is a 1/2 inch D-ring with 1/2 inch swivel clip, and then I just added the strap. Come on, what? Who wouldn't want to go to school? Who wouldn't want to go to work with these adorable snack packs, right? All right, let's get started. Let's start making this. I'm gonna show you how quickly this is to wrap up. First bag, canvas only, No batting, no interfacing, just canvas, lining, zipper, done. Okay, we're gonna do that in sandwich size. I'm gonna have the time clips for each one of these bags in the description below. So if you're only interested in one or the other, just check down there and it'll tell you where you gotta go in the video to find your bag. Okay, for bag number 1, you're gonna need 2 exterior pieces. I'm using a cotton canvas, which is just a little bit thicker, kind of more heavy duty, but this is going to be a pretty thin bag. Each one of these is going to be 8.5 inches by 8.5 inches. So you're just making squares, 2 8.5 by 8.5 inch squares. You're gonna do your lining pieces in the same size. I'm using pull lining, which I got off of Sahara Fabrics. I'll have a link for them below. You're also gonna need 2 8.5 by 8.5 inch square lining pieces. For the zipper, you're gonna need a 7-inch zipper. So if you're using a 7-inch metal zipper, here I'll show you. So a 7-inch metal zipper is going to be 8.5 inches long total. The tape will be 8.5 inches long, but the zipper will be 7 inches long. Same thing with a plastic zipper. Plastic zippers though, you can cut and sew over very easily. So this one you can see is longer than a 7-inch zipper. This is probably closer to an 8 or a 9-inch zipper, but I'm okay with that because I'll just trim off the ends that I don't need. When using a metal zipper, I'm gonna wanna use the right size zipper. So if you're using a metal zipper, get the 7-inch zipper, which should be 8.5 inches long total. If you're using a plastic zipper, you just want the tape to be 8.5 inches or longer and you can trim it down. So putting it together is fairly simple. We're gonna take our exterior piece and make sure you know where the top is. So this is gonna be my top right here. You're gonna take your zipper and you're gonna lay it, see where the zipper is here? I'm gonna lay that right side down, right on top of this. And then I'm just gonna clip it in place using some Wonder Clips. Since I'm using pull lining, I'm not going to be using pins this time. So let's clip it, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All right, so we have our exterior piece right sides together with our zipper tape. Now, you're gonna take one of your lining pieces and you're gonna find the right side. The right side for pull lining is the shiny, shiny side. You're gonna do shiny or right side down against the right side of your exterior piece. You're just gonna line it up. To help me make sure it all stays even, I like to put a couple of clips on the bottom corners just to make sure they're all lined up. Just like that. And then you're just gonna add it to your clips up top. So you see how I already have my top zipper and exterior clipped. I'm just gonna line it up edge to edge with the exterior and I'm just gonna add these in. Now you can sew on your exterior piece with a basting stitch, which is like a 4mm stitch first, and then go back over and add the lining. Honestly, these are decent sized pieces. I really don't think you need to do that. I think even a beginner could do both of these in one step. So now you can see I have my exterior piece sandwiched with my lining piece, and then I have the zipper in the middle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my zipper foot and I'm just gonna sew along this edge. I am just going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance against this zipper tape and just run along the side of this. I'm gonna make sure I back stitch at the beginning and the ends. All right, so I have that stitched on there. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open it up and I'm gonna go to my iron and I'm just going to press this down so it stays nice, and then I'm gonna give it a quick top stitch. I pressed it down and now I'm gonna change my stitch length to 3mm, and then I'm gonna do 1/8 of an inch of a seam allowance, and I'm just gonna go along the edge. There we go, top stitch down. So now we're gonna do the same thing for the other side. I have my exterior piece that I already sewed on, right side up, zipper right side up, okay? Now I'm gonna take my second panel, right side down. I'm gonna line it up with the edges of the sewn on exterior panel and with the top of the zipper. And then I'm just gonna clip that in place. Remember, it's exterior right sides together with exterior right sides, okay? like 4 clips. It's not very big. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip it over. So now I have my lining fabric, right side up, shiny side up. So now I'm gonna take my other lining piece, find the shiny side. So the shiny side is my right side down, line it up with the edges, right? And then I'm just gonna clip it to the top. And if you find it helpful to maybe clip it on the side, because sometimes when we're clipping all these things together, things like to get a little off kiltered, you can just go ahead and clip it on the side as well to make sure it all stays nice and squared up. All right, and then just hold the fabric, pinch open your clip, and add in that lining. There we go. And now I'm gonna take it back to the sewing machine, and I'm gonna do another 1/4 inch seam allowance along the zipper, flip it out, top stitch it, and then we're done with adding the panels. All right, just like before, 1/4 inch seam allowance. We're just gonna go right along that zipper, give it a good back stitch at the beginning and the end. And see, I stitched this on. So when I flip it out like this, I want to make sure my lining and my exterior are wrong sides together so that I flip it open like this. See? You gotta be able to see that zipper, okay? So now I'm gonna press this down right here. Is that a decent press? And then I'm gonna do an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance top stitch using a 3mm stitch length. All right, so here we are. We have our exterior pieces sewed on. We have our lining pieces sewed on. We have it all top stitched. Now, we need to trim our zipper tape if it's a little too long. Do not trim off your zipper pull. I know how easy it is to do that. You're thinking, I'm just gonna take my rotary cutter and I'm just gonna slice, and then you don't have a zipper pull. It's very frustrating, so make sure you move your zipper pull in a little bit before you slice off your zipper tape. We're gonna put the whole thing together now. So we're gonna take right side exterior to right side exterior. Don't pull up that lining, leave that lining laying down. Exteriors together. And then we're gonna flip it like this. So what we have now is we have exterior, right sides together with exterior, and lining, right sides together with lining. Now, what you're probably thinking at this point is, what am I gonna do with this funky zipper in the middle? Okay, you're gonna push the zipper towards the lining. See that? You see how here's my zipper, right? Right in there. And I'm gonna push it towards the lining so that it looks like this. Are you good? Okay, so let's pin that first, and then we'll just go around. Same thing with the other side. Push it. This side's open, you can see. So push it in towards the lining side. It's just gonna make it easier when you're opening and closing your bag. It's pushed in towards the lining side. So on the bottom, this is gonna be the bottom of your lining piece. On the bottom of your lining piece, you're gonna wanna mark about a 3 to 4 inch opening. Try to go closer to the 3-inch size if you can comfortably get your hand in through that, because we're gonna be boxing these corners, so we don't want our opening interfering with our box corners. So right in the middle, I'm gonna mark a 3-inch section, because I know that I can get my hand, or at least I can get my fingers through a 3-inch section to turn this whole bag out at the end. So I'm just gonna mark here and here, so when I'm sewing, I know I'm gonna start here and go around, and I'm gonna stop here, and I'm gonna give it both a good back stitch. So I'm just gonna start. You're gonna use a 1/4 inch seam allowance, 2.5 millimeter stitch length. Give it a good back stitch at the beginning and the end, and just go around the whole bag. have the entire thing sewn together with our hole for turning it later. Now we're going to box the corners. There are a few different ways to box corners. For me, for this pattern, this is the best way. So you're going to take your ruler and you're going to find the 3/4 mark and the 3/4 mark in the 1-inch box, okay? We're going to line up the 3/4 inch mark on the bottom and the 3/4 inch mark on the side with the stitched line, okay? So I'm going to draw on here over my stitching on the corners, okay? Just to help you see, since I'm using a thread that might not be so visible. So I'm going to take the 3/4 inch marking. So I have it lined up so that the 3/4 inch marking down, 3/4 inches down and 3/4 inches to the side are lined up on my stitches, okay? Not on the edge of the fabric, on the stitches. Got it. So now I'm just going to draw a square just like this, okay? There you go. So now I have this little square. I'm going to continue along every corner, both corners of the exterior and both corners of the lining, making these 3/4 inch boxes, all right? So we're cutting the whole corner off. See that? Whole corner gone. I'm gonna do this one. Now, to box them, what we do, we've got one of our corners here. We're gonna take it and we're gonna open it up like this, see? So I have it, let's do it again, just like this, and I'm just gonna pinch it. I'm gonna open it up like a little mouth, look at that. Hello, how's it going? So, we fold it like this, okay? So you have a seam up here, and you have your other seam here, and we're gonna nest them, which means we fold one seam maybe to the right, and then the other seam to the left. Whatever side you decide to go, make sure the other one goes the opposite way. Now, can you see how those are nice and nested together? Okay, it's nice and flat, right? And the seams are nested. So what we do now is we just clip this. And there we go, okay? We have it just like that. We're gonna do that for all 4 corners. All right, so we're gonna take this to the sewing machine and we're gonna sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance along these edges that we've clipped. So just a 1/4 inch seam allowance straight across, just like that. Make sure we backstitch when doing this. Have our bag with our box corners. So now we're just going to turn the whole thing right side out. I'm going to reach in. And there is our standing reusable snack pouch. I'm going to show you how we close up that hole in the bottom of the lining. So right here we have this little hole in the bottom of the lining. What you're going to do is you're going to put your fingers on either side and just give it a very gentle tug. While we're doing that is so that we can get a nice fold on this lining fabric to make it easier to sew together. And all we're going to do is we're just going to give that a clip. Just clip it shut just like that. Again, see, sometimes it likes to roll up like that. That's why you tug it a little bit to get it nice and flat. and then clip it and give it a little tug, make it flat, and then clip it. And then we're going to use 1/8 of an inch seam allowance to just sew along this edge to close it up. So you can see I just went along and I just gave it a little top stitch, and I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to shove it in the bag. All right, bag number 1 is done. Sandwich bag, easy bag. Man, you guys, these things, they just are so cute, right? So you can see, see if I can put it, let me just move this out of the way real quick. It's kombucha, okay guys? It's like 12 o'clock in the afternoon. It's not wine, it's kombucha. I just feel fancy when I drink out of a wine glass. So here we go. Sandwich snack bag with wipe downable with waterproof lining. This doesn't have any sort of interfacing. It is just cotton canvas and lining and a zipper, plastic zipper. This is a cheap make, and it's super cute. So you can see, if I just put it down like that, it stands very nicely, right? This is something you can have on your desk at your office for all of your, you know, healthy treats. And it will just sit right there. It has a nice, since we boxed the corners, it has more of a round opening up top instead of like a slit opening, which is what you would have with something like a plastic Ziploc or something. So this also makes it really easy when you're loading it up. So sometimes I have to load up these bags full of like pretzels, tons of pretzels. And when I have a Ziploc and I'm loading it up like this, they're all falling out. But when I have this bag and I have it standing up, I just load it up, and then I zip it up, throw it in the bag, and I'm done. All right, so first bag down. Let's go to bag number 2. So for this bag, we got to use a few more things. So first are my exterior panels. This is cotton lycra. Cotton lycra is stretchy and it likes to roll. So to work with this, I actually interface it with some SF101 purely so I could cut it. I mean, that's the only reason I interfaced it with the SF101. This is my other cotton lycra bag. With this one, I did not have to interface it with SF101 because when I was cutting it, it didn't stretch or curl on me as much. This one wanted to stretch and go everywhere. This is my exterior. Here's my other exterior. These are my exterior pieces. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to quilt these onto some thermal batting. So I'm using thermal batting. This is what my package looks like. It's called Insulbright. And this is what I'm going to use as my interfacing for this bag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my batting layer first, and to help keep everything in place, I'm going to spray it with just a little bit of this 505 spray. This is what a lot of quilters will use when they're keeping their quilt top attached to their batting. So I'm just going to give it a little spritz like that. And then I'm going to take this and I'm just going to stick it on top. And this provides a really good adhesive without gunking up your needle. Just make sure you're careful when you're smoothing it out. You don't have any ripples anywhere. There we go. So there's that one. I'm going to do the same for this one. Put that down just like that. Okay, so that glue just provides it just enough to stay still for us. So now I'm going to mark my lines for how I'm going to quilt it. This is called a Hera marker. You could also use the dull edge of a butter knife to do this, but if you have something like this already, just use this. So what we do is we take our ruler and we're going to decide where we want our starting line. So I'm just going to do a diagonal start like that. And I take my Hera marker and I just push down on the fabric like that. And that provides me with this nice line that I'll be able to go over whenever I'm quilting it. So I'm just gonna do a 1-inch separation on going this way and that way. All right, so I have my lines marked. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna give a few pins on here to keep it from rolling up on me. Because like I said, the glue's okay, but it's not gonna hold it down for very long. So I just do this real quick. So I'm gonna do the same thing for my other panel, and then I'm gonna take it to the sewing machine and I'm just going to sew over these lines. If you have a walking foot for your sewing machine, I highly recommend you use that when quilting this, especially if you are using a cotton lycra, because it is so stretchy. Even though we interfaced it with SF101, it's gonna like to move around on you a little bit while you're quilting it. If you do not have a walking foot, that's fine. Just go very slowly and make sure you up your stitch length to about 3 millimeters. I'm using a walking foot because I have one. What I'm gonna be doing is I'm just gonna sew along all of the lines that I marked with my Hera marker. And a general useful quilting tip is that you always wanna start and stop your quilting on the same side. So I started quilting over here and then I went down like this. I'm gonna start on that side every time. I'm going to start at the same part and go down. I'm not gonna go down and then go back up and then go down and then go back up, because what happens is you start pushing your fabric in different ways and you're gonna get ripples. If you always start kind of at the same line and go down, go up, go down, move your fabric back up, go down. If you do that, then you will always have nice, even quilting lines. So here's the quilting. A simple quilting like this is great. If you want to go the other way, you can as well. But this is a nice, simple quilting. If you have a label for your bag, now's a good time to add it. I like to just kind of add it in one of the corners towards the top. I'm not real precise about this. Just kind of stick it wherever. If you are adding a wristlet strap, now's the time to make sure we get our D-ring on. So I have my connector for my D-ring, and I have my D-ring. I'm using a half inch D-ring, and I'm going to just trim off these strings. And I'm just gonna put it through my D-ring like that. And then I'm gonna figure out where I want it on here. I think I'm gonna put it over here and then clip it. And then I'm gonna go with about a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'm just gonna sew up and down to secure this in place. So now we put the bag together the exact same way we did the sandwich bag. So I'm not gonna actually walk you through those steps, but I will film it and let you just kind of zoom through it as we go. So again, exterior piece up. For this zipper, I'm using a metal zipper, so it is the same length as my exterior piece. So zipper face down. I'm gonna sew this on using a 1/4 inch seam allowance on my zipper foot. And then I'm gonna flip it out and I'm gonna top stitch it at 1/8 inch seam allowance. So you can see I attached both my lining pieces and my exterior pieces to the zipper the same way I did with the sandwich bag. So just like we did with that, I'm going to fold right sides together of the exterior flaps and right sides together of the lining flaps. We're gonna still do the zipper the same way, where we pinch it towards the lining. So see the zipper tape here? We're gonna pinch that zipper tape towards the lining and just pin in place. mark a 3-inch opening so that I can pull it all out when I'm done. There we go. Now I'm going to go to the sewing machine and I'm just going to sew all the way around the edges. Starting at this mark, I'm going to sew all the way around. And then into this one, make sure you back stitch really well at the front, at the beginning and the end. You're going to use a 1/4 inch seam allowance the whole way. Show you again how we box these corners. So remember, it's still, for both bags, it's 3/4 inch boxing. So we take our ruler and we line up the 3/4 inch marks. So here's one of my 3/4 inch marks. Here's one 3/4 inch mark, here's another one. I'm lining it up on my stitch, not on the edge of the fabric. I'm lining it up on the stitch. Ideally, the edge of the fabric will line up with a 1-inch mark because we're boxing these about 1 inch. But just to be sure, I line it up with my stitch. And then I just draw on here. And this is where I know to cut. Have our corners cut out just like that. See, what you do is you're going to open it up. Make sure you have all your layers, okay? You're going to open it up nice and gently, and you're just going to fold it together like that. Remember, we're going to nest our seams. So one seam goes this way, the other seam goes the opposite way, and then just clip in place just like that. Alright, and then we're just going to sew along these edges at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Alright, we're good. We got it all sewed together. We have our corners all boxed. Everything's sewn together. Let's just pop it in out. Let's just pop it right side out and see what it looks like, huh? You gotta remember to open your zipper all the way. I didn't. It's kind of a pain trying to open the zipper when it's like this. But especially with as many layers as I have. Alright, here we go. Let's work on birthing this bag. Let's pop out these corners. Oh yeah, that's cool. There you go, all done. So here's our reusable, wipe downable, waterproof lined snack bag. I'm gonna close up that hole in the seam in the lining on my own. If you added the D-ring, you can now take your strap and just clip it onto here. Right, look how cute that is. All right, I'll give you a little sneak peek of something I'm working on. I don't have a tutorial out for this yet, but this is an ID holder. So let's say if you're at school and you have a lunch, some schools give cafeteria cards to the kids. You can slide your cafeteria card in here and then keep your snacks, or maybe if you're, you know, in high school or in junior high, you can keep like your lip gloss and maybe pencils, whatever else you might need in here. And then you have your ID card right here, right? I mean, come on, this is adorable. I love these bags. And again, you can see when we take it and we pop it, easy peasy, right? And it stays nice like this. When I'm opening it in the morning to load it up with snacks, it has a nice big opening like this. It's not just like a little slit, it's a nice wide opening. I can load it up with goodies while it's sitting on the table. Close it up, throw it in the bag. It's very cushiony. This will keep warm things warm, cold things cold. Obviously this isn't, you know, like an ice chest, but it'll keep things decent for a while. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found this tutorial useful. I hope you're gonna go out and make a ton of snack bags and sandwich bags, or call them whatever. You can call them makeup bags, you can call them baby wipe bags. You can use these for anything, and seriously, for everything. But it's another great substitute for kind of a boring plastic bag. And you guys, Ziplocs aren't that cheap, right? And you're gonna go through a lot of them. Just make a few of these for the year. You can embroider on them. You can put your silhouette designs on them. You can do all kinds of fun stuff with these bags. Make sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Comment any questions or comments or random thoughts you might have down below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see what we're coming out with next, because every Monday there will be a new tutorial. Sometimes sewing, sometimes not sewing, sometimes fabric related, most of the time fabric related, but not always fabric related. So again, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope we see each other again soon. Get out there and make something. Bye!
It's a beautiful world out there. Just don't pass on the day.